Ever since I've switched to Schaeffer's oil, I've never had a reason to even try anything else. And that's one thing that I'm proud about, is the fact that I can't tell you how good something else is, because I know how good Schaeffer's oil is. My engine builders, Tony and Glenn Clements, have said about the oil we run. They've told us that out of all the motors that they get and rebuild every year, ours looks the best, and a lot of that has to do with the oil that we run. One of the things that I love about Schaeffer's oil is the fact that all of their reps are out in the field and at the racetracks with us, seeing what all the racers need, seeing what ideas we have or anything that we can improve on. And you just can't beat the customer service of having a rep for, you know, one of the main components of our race team, whether it's at our engine oil, transmission fluid, rear end oil, having somebody there that represents that brand and also gives us the support and also the knowledge that we need to be making the right calls and just helping us out with our entire racing program. It means a lot to our race team to have that. My name's Chris Ferguson, and I drive the number 22 dirt late model. I've been using Schaeffer's oil racing products since 2009. I absolutely have no doubt that we're using the best products that is possible for dirt late model racing.
There's two types of drivers out there. Drivers who know how to protect their investment, and drivers who don't. Car owners who know how to get more miles per gallon, and owners who don't. We're talking people who know their Schaeffer, and people who don't. Which one are you? From cars to trucks to diesel workhorses, whatever you drive, there's a Schaeffer synthetic oil for you. Do you know your Schaeffer? Ask for it at an automotive retailer near you.
Well, hello and welcome to Race First coverage of the Revolution Indy League Schaeffer's IndyCar Series. Only 3 rounds to go, including this one. We are in qualifying here from Nashville Speedway. 1.33 mile concrete course here. Well, questionably, isn't that, Gary, to introduce you about what the distance is here. You were trying to do some research before the...
Yeah, we were doing some research before, and this is I believe this is going to be a pivotal race in the schedule. Certainly these last 3 races, the last 2 tracks are pretty well raced on by Indy cars. This one is not so much. This is a fairly new track on the circus, or the circus if you want to say it, or the service if you really want to say what it really is. But not a lot of cars races have been here, mainly because it's not a really good track to race on, and we might see a little bit of that tonight. But the track record is actually held by Scott Dixon with a official time of 23.271 seconds. Now, as we look right now in provisional qualifying, Wes Weisbrod just did a lap of 23.063, so that is an unofficial new track record. But how is that measured now? If we go on our overlay and we decide to say, hey, show me what miles per hour looks like, that is a 202.713. When I actually did the reverse math on this, Scott, at least according to the overlay, Scott Dixon turned a lap of 23.271 seconds for a speed of 200.904 miles per hour on a track length measured at 1.298 miles. So as I kind of stretched it out and figured out what it was eventually, Scott Dixon more than likely did a 206.214 in one of the older 2011 era cars, which probably could go very fast in this course. I don't think the R18s quite generate the amount of downforce that those cars did and can go as fast on here, but the time says otherwise. In practice, Dakota did a lap of 208.680 if we're using the 1.333 configuration that Wikipedia says it has. So there's a lot of question on how the actual track is being measured. So even if we do put stuff in miles per hour, we're probably not looking at actual real numbers there. What we might be focusing more on, and what I don't like to do on ovals, is focus more on time, because time is not really relative of kind of how fast they are really going around here in terms of the actual number that we want to see. We want to see these big 200-mile-per-hour speed limits, not 39 seconds around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That's not nearly as impressive. So I think today we'll probably just be focusing more on time because of the discrepancy in the distance. But it could be anywhere between 1.29 miles all the way up to 1.333 miles.
Well, that is a discrepancy, and I've seen that at other tracks here in iRacing. Like Motegi was one of them.
Yes.
Also, that has some discrepancy there.
Yeah, IndyCar will measure tracks at one length. Kart will measure tracks at another length. NASCAR will measure tracks at another length. Sometimes it's up by the wall, sometimes it's in the middle of the racetrack, sometimes it's down the white line. It all varies around the sanctioning body. I wish it was more uniform than that, but right now no one's been able to agree on that quite yet. So.
No, they have not. And yeah, whatever can make that mile per hour number bigger, I would think IndyCar would want to go with that one.
Absolutely. I think I would want that one too.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're here. Schaeffer's IndyCar Series. Our points, we can go through that real quick. How much time do we have? About 30 seconds left.
23 seconds. We still got a grid, so yeah, we got time.
So I'll quickly look at our points here. We are tied. Nate Schaeffer, Caleb Bensi, 324 points both. Gavin Sanders kind of knocking on the door there. Still has a shot at it at 296 points. Then we head down to Dakota. I think he's still mathematically able to be involved here. Maybe even Nick Johnston there in 5th. But I think the further we go, these chance of a championship is kind of heading by the wayside. And that's where we're at. But we do have a drop week, which will always kind of be an interesting part of this whole thing. But let's see if we can head onto the grid now that we've got this, and hopefully my grid is actually correct. We'll find out. I believe that it is. So we've got Will's on. Is that Will on the pole? Is that followed by Nate Schaeffer P2, Bruno Miranda P3, Gavin Sanders P4, Shane Coogan, Justin Miller making a return to the series here in P6 after I believe his last race was iRacing Super Speedway. Or maybe
yes, and Justin in a new colored car. He's in a pink colored car, which is not what we normally see him in. P7, Caleb Bensi trying to keep Nate in his front mirror there in his front window so it doesn't get too far out of reach here in the championship. JJ Wang with a good run in 8th. Dakota DeMaid still trying to hold on to the championship run here, P9. Nick Mannery, P10. Christian Jasper, P11. And Christopher Hill in P12.
Followed by Matthew Short in 13th, Johan Shirazi, P14, Nick Johnston, P15, Michael Holler, P16, Jonathan Liebertore, P17, Drew White making an entry here. He's kind of our oval specialist back in P18. And we've got Brody Garner and
P19, Nicholas Isidro in 20th, and Joshua Tucker with no time starting in 21st. Looks like we've got a 21-car field, which actually a speedway of this size, that's a pretty good number of cars to have here. So we'll find just enough of this race in traffic, but a good part of it out of traffic as well. So 21, 22 cars here is a very good number.
Yeah, you didn't want to have that 35, 36 car field here.
No.
Yeah, when you're building that schedule, when the organizing body is building a schedule, just how the way iRacing series work, we know that the schedule starts to get, or the roster gets a little light near to the end of the season. So maybe these kind of tracks you kind of put near the end of the season as opposed to at the start. Unless you want to introduce early bumping.
Sorry, real quick, just also want to warn people, watch, these guys got to watch the apron, especially to the tri-oval. Because a lot of these tracks of this size, the aprons, the transition is not that big. It is a pretty big transition between the apron and the racetrack, especially in the tri-oval area, and it'll often cause cars to wreck. So we want to watch passes down low as we're getting ready to go green here.
World War III bringing us to the green flag.
And he wastes no time, and they're starting to back up behind him.
Nate Schaeffer.
Oh, wait a minute. He lets off the accelerator a little bit. I'm not sure what's going on.
That was a bit like a Christian Alacio start right there.
And they're 3 wide of the 1.
Shane Coogan taking the lead into turn 1.
Wow, that was pretty ballsy, especially with the way that this track is behaving. We got Secret on the outside, staying up high, still too wide going through turns 3 and 4. Here comes Wang! Yes! Oh my goodness.
That was really close.
Really close. He's lucky Netcode didn't take over.
Yeah, for Nate Schaeffer for his championship run, definitely thankful of that. And we're getting everybody organized. A large gaggle of cars there in the back of the field with Jasper, Johnston, Chris Hill at the front of that.
Oh, yeah, there's a big gaggle back here in 13th, 14th, 15th, right around the back end of the field.
But I'd say power move by Shane Coogan to take that lead. Will struggling back here, though. I wonder if he caught the wall, our pole sitter here, and is just trying to get this car underneath him once again. Coming under threat from Caleb Bency in P6. And, whoa, there goes Will. He caught the wall heavy. No caution, though.
Yeah, he's got a corner flopping there. So he's going to have to pull into the pits and get that taken a look at. It is a quick day for the pole sitter.
Yeah. That might be speeding in the pits as well. Well, we'll go back to the cars on the track. We'll see if we can get a replay of that one at some point in time. Maybe I'll just see if I can grab one right now.
I tell you what, it's pretty nip and tuck here at the rear. I'm watching from about 10th place on back, from Christopher Hill on back, and they are fighting just tooth and nail to try to get some track position and the break loose of pack racing at the moment.
I've got Will on the.
Oh, got to wait the car down low. Bruno Miranda on the apron coming into turns 3 and 4. So he is heading to pit road for some reason.
Well, we'll have a look at that as well. Okay, yeah, Will just got up into the wall up there. I see Bruno Miranda making his way down pit lane. Let's see if we can get a replay of this one, too.
Yeah, a lot of side-by-side. Christian Jasper, Johan Shirazi have been side-by-side for the better part of this entire race. And we're just a handful of laps in, so they're losing a lot of time of the cars in front of them that have gotten single file. Now they're starting to get single file a little bit.
I'm not sure what happened to Bruno Miranda. He just looked like he was kind of being a train at one point, and then he just pulled it into the pits. So
yeah, maybe he just didn't get a handle of the place or something. Thought maybe the best thing to do is to park it, but now they're starting to get situated out back.
Isn't your normal?
Oh, Holler into the wall and coming off of turn 4.
So he's still rolling, though, on my screen.
He is, but he is down on power for sure.
Yeah.
You can look at him.
What I was about to
Holler was a 24.313. Actually, it was his best lap, but it's
we'll see what this one comes up as.
24.156. So maybe just get it back underneath him. Maybe it was White Kiss.
Well, what I was about to say is this is a little bit different. This isn't your typical 1.5 mile track. You know, it's quite a bit different. It might look like it from, you know, the layman might think that, but it is certainly a different track. 1.33 mile track, as we discussed earlier. We're still running the Speedway wings, not running high downforce wings, short oval wings like we'd run at Dover. So these cars really struggle for grip after a few laps.
Yeah, when the Indy Racing League came here for real, they did not use their short oval package. They used their super speedway package. Actually, I think they used a combination of their short or super speedway front wings and short oval rear wings. And that was kind of the compromise here, because this is, if you want to call it an intermediate or a intermediate short intermediate short oval, something along the lines of what Gateway is. That's kind of what you're looking at here. A lot more banked. If you were to look at this place from the air, it looks a lot similar to what you see with Kansas or not quite Chicagoland, but let's see, Las Vegas maybe. It would look but it's got two big differences. Of course, it's just a little bit smaller, but it's also a concrete surface.
Yeah.
And for a while there, IndyCar would race on a concrete surface at least one time a year, whether it be Dover or here. But since they've dropped it from the schedule entirely, IndyCar does not race on a concrete surface at all on a regular basis, other than street and road courses,
which is a mixture of mixture of concrete. There's a good side-by-side battle while you were talking about that between Brody Garner and Dakota DeMade, and it looks like Brody has taken over that position of P6 over Dakota.
Dakota with the #1 badge, defending champion of the series, got to have a great finish today in order to continue his championship defense into the next two races. Like I said, next two races, these cars run a lot at those tracks. So I would expect the next two races to be a lot of where you start is kind of where you finish in track position. This might be one of the few races right here. This is the wild card of the group.
There's going to be a Watkins Glen followed by Homestead. So the last few seasons we've run Gateway as the finale, and finally we're going to Homestead. I think that's a really good choice for a final race. Shane Coogan up here in P1's kind of, I wouldn't say quite checked out, but he does have command of this at the moment.
Yeah, he's got himself a 1.3 second lead. Not getting anywhere away from Seaford there. He is coming up on some lap traffic for the first time he gets to really experience the aero wash this race as well. Seaford is within draft range, and it's got that 1.5 second envelope that extends behind these cars. But the draft really is not a factor here until you get really, really close, and it's just because of the way the track is designed.
I think we might have had Will coming out of the pits again, our pole setter, making his way back onto the track. Not sure if he's still out there. Yeah, he's out there.
Yeah, he's out there. He had himself about a 2-minute stay on pit road to get damage taken care of, and hopefully he's tracking straight and everything.
Josh Tucker also on pit lane. He might be... I have to get a closer look at this thing here, but he might be running the Dakota DeMade Hello Kitty car.
He is.
Yeah, so there we go. If you look through the field here, Gary, it's like the intervals between all these drivers. I'll put it up on the screen, but it's all like about a second.
Yeah.
Other than Hill, we'll look at that battle. Hill and Minori. What did he corrected our pronunciation of his name? I don't remember which it was. I think it was Minori, wasn't it?
Your memory might be better than mine.
I don't remember, unfortunately. So we're sorry, Nick. I know you said which it was, but don't recall at the time.
Showing White in the pits as well. Tucker's in the pits. Weisberg now a lap down. Miranda is out. So 22 laps in, and pretty high car count already for those that are showing attrition. Yeah,
like I was saying, that you just there's a lot of understeer here, so you can just brush that wall, and once you do that, you know, some of these drivers just might opt to park it at that point. Not me and you when we're at Atlanta, though, right, Gary?
That depends on who we're racing around. That might actually put us into that wall. But
yeah.
Watching Christopher Hill at the moment, he is using a fairly high line around this racetrack. He's not getting anywhere near that yellow line. He's about a half a lane off. He's probably one of the higher cars I see. Mannery's the same way, actually. Checking JJ Wang now, just coming through the tri-oval area, see if he's getting to the absolute bottom. He's a lot lower than most people. He's right down on the yellow line, so a little bit of a different lines going through these corners at the moment.
Yeah, there's a few different lines, or a couple of lines at least. I thought Dakota... yeah, you go ahead.
When Indy Fix came here and we did that race, I seem to remember one of the big hustlers of that particular race was using the high line pretty well. The high line does not seem to be in favor as it was in that when we did that Indy Fixed race here. But then again, I think ignorance might have been a little bit of bliss in that particular race, because really these drivers had nothing to go off of when they got onto that track for that first time. And some of these guys have actually been on some of those Indy Fix races that are in this lineup today, maybe have a little bit better of an idea. And that's maybe why we see some better or different lines than we did in the first fixed race that we had here a couple seasons ago.
Yeah, it was literally the first, we broadcasted right here on Race First, was the first IndyCar race here in the service, official one anyway. It was kind of an exploration by all these drivers. I remember the pit lane experience was a very new one for everybody.
Yep.
And we had, we have the ability to pit off of turn 4, where the NASCAR drivers would do it. But there was actually, historically, IndyCar would have had them pitting off turn 3.
Yes.
You can do both of those things here. Whichever. Turn 3 is certainly a little bit safer. So we'll see what we're looking at, about 60 laps on a stint. So we'll see how that comes up. But to see Josh Tucker opting for the turn 3 entry, he came back out. He's heading back into the pits now.
Yeah, I think he might have been letting the leaders go by.
Yeah.
He might not be tracking right, and maybe he's a little frustrated. And I don't blame him. I've been there before. So we'll see where he brings it down pit road, whether he parks it or maybe get some more time to do repairs.
So Nate Seifkers dropped back about 2 seconds for Shane Coogan. It was about 1.25, maybe 10 laps to go. Justin Miller is inching into that second place, and he's only about a second back. Gavin Sanders, another second back from there. Another championship contender, Caleb Bensi, in P5. He's about a second back from Gavin. At the end of the day, though, I think the biggest storyline here is that start of this race and what could have happened there with Nate and just everything there. It looked like we might have had a pileup for a moment there, but everybody kept it going straight.
They were recording. They're kind of getting the accordion action going on. Now, is Justin showing up bright pink for you as well?
No, he is not, actually. For some reason, he is in a black car for me right now.
Okay, so he's that's normally his normal livery, but he's showing up in a bright pink for me for some reason. So
okay. Well, is he in a Hello Kitty car?
No, he's in his Lawn Medic, which I think it's his regular sponsor.
Okay.
Let's see if we get a redraw on this car here for me, but it was something weird to see him in something other than a green car. Normally that is his MO.
Okay. Well, actually, with that said, the black car that I see is actually completely black, like no paint at all black. I only see his numbers, so I don't know what the deal is with Miller's livery here today. I guess I could hit the refresh button. Let me
It comes back to pink for me.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna do a refresh on everybody, see what happens. Everybody's car is gonna turn white here. Shane's livery has reloaded. No, it loads Justin's. So there could be, we have a service called Trading Paints that we download these paints from. So occasionally we have these kind of issues with that. And I'll give a shout out again. He likes it when we do it. Give a shout out to JJ here for having a strong, strong qualifying in 8th position, and he's keeping it going because he is not, he's not really an oval guy. I don't think he'd say he was an oval guy.
He's a roval guy.
He's a roval guy, but he's going to tell everybody that he doesn't even watch the ovals when the IndyCar goes to him. I might jinx him here. For any good luck he's going to have from this one. But got to watch those ovals, JJ. It's not like there's that many of them anyway, so.
And now I got Justin in an all-black car. I had to uncheck the hide numbers and that to give him the black car, but still it's not his normal livery, so I'm not sure what's going on. But I do see the green around his number 12, so that's at least someone. But he's an oval specialist, and he's got himself up in the P3 there at that start. And it's pretty much been single file, not a lot of passing since everyone's got situated here in the first 5 or 6 laps.
Closest battle on the track at the moment is between Nick Johnston and Chris Hill. Nick Johnston having a really tough race. Winner from last week at Red Bull Ring, but having a really tough run last night at Mount Panorama.
A lot of people had a tough run last night at Mount
Panorama. Well, I would say this one was not his own doing, but that was the case with several people as well. So. And from what I understand, he is not the biggest oval guy either. And either is Chris Hill up here in 10th. So,
Chris Hill's been getting better on the ovals. I have
correct.
Noticed that
Yeah. I mean, literally at the beginning of RIL, well, his first introduction to Indy cars was over in FIS. And so we ran Indianapolis and we ran Auto Club. So that would have been his first taste of an oval. Actually, with that said, I think he missed Auto Club with some real life racing that he had to do. So only Indianapolis before coming to RIL, and he's a professional driver, so he's going to pick it up quick. But I think it's a little bit of a humbling experience at the same time as you kind of learn all the tools of these cars and how to get around
Schaeffer
here.
hitting pit road there, coming back out.
Slightly early.
A planned stop or not.
One thing we can be happy about Christian here, though, you might have noticed he was missing the last couple of rounds here, both here and
internet
the RIL.
connection. Yeah.
Internet connection issues. So he has a high-speed fiber. Oh,
Caution
yellow
on the
flag.
racetrack.
It is Jonathan Liebertore. We'll see what happened to him. Coming up to, pit stops in the next 15 laps, so I think everybody's going to take it now. We'll get a look at Jonathan here, though.
I think he gets down
yeah.
not quite to the bottom and just kind of washes right up into the gray, smacks the wall. Spins it around the trioval area. Everyone misses him.
He did
reset.
reset.
For the lap, at least.
Yeah, he did reset. All tires are on the car, though, so we might see him back out. Shane Coogan heading into pit lane here. This could really be deciding factor here, how these pits come out here. If Nate can jump Shane here, to really... You might even short fuel here just for the sake of trying to get out in first.
Yeah, I think they could race in the short run, like in over a 5 or 6 lap sprint. They could probably race, but after that, when the tires give up the good on them, I think after that is going to be a single file race. Looks like the guy's jockeying for just those last few extra inches coming on the pit road.
Brody Garner, unless this had happened on track, but I noticed he is in 4th ahead of Caleb Bency, so not what Caleb wanted. Justin Miller is going back to 6th. In fact, I see a slow stop for Justin at a 9.6 second versus everybody else's 8 seconds. So I don't know what that is, what the discrepancy was there. Looks like Michael Huller is taking some maybe optional repairs. We saw him brush.
See what happened to Justin here. He gets into his box, slides through a little bit. Oh, had the backup. He had the backup.
Okay.
He had the backup. So there was just a momentarily he had the backup, and that cost him just that second or so of
he started this race in 6th, and he made his way up, so he's going to have to do it again. Except he might have had help with that one, with how disjointed that start was. So we'll see.
Oh, for sure.
Let's see.
So we're still looking at least another stop before they can safely finish this race.
Yeah, I think we're looking at a one-stopper from here. Might get to about a lap 100. Like, say we went green, get to lap 100, take those fresh tires and run it out. Although I know, like, Caleb and Dakota probably would want to run these tires as long as they could. Just in case, they don't want to get burned by that yellow flag. Just like Gavin Sanders did at Motegi, but I think he had to hit when he did. So.
Yeah, I was helping. Of course, I was helping strategy with that race with you and Caleb and Lionheart, and Caleb's I like to go to the very end, and we were just looking for a bit of a different strategy and a way to to maybe make up some a couple spots because he was just on the outside of the top 10, and we thought we'd stop a lap or two early. And just as we were coming to pit road, that's when the yellow came out and caught him a lap down, and never could recover at that point. And it deviated from his normal thing of waiting for the actual tank to be dry before pitting. And a lot of people are like that. And I don't blame him, and I'm like that too. But sometimes you gamble and it bites you in the ass, and that's exactly what happened.
I think my talk, maybe with you, I don't remember if it was with you, but with him as well after that race was, I was the one that started that, right, where I pit early. I was looking for a Hail Mary pass, whereas he didn't need to do such a thing in that race. So he should have probably just kept his usual strategy, done that, whereas I wanted to do something different just to try to, because I was mired in that field. So.
Oh yeah, we were well deep in that field.
Yeah, we were.
I think we're getting ready to go green.
Yeah, lights are off on the pace car.
Shane is your leader still.
He's led every lap here. Not going to get the Triple Crown though, because he did not get pole. So. Shane Coogan brings us down. Early acceleration.
Good start.
So Shane, it's been a few months now, but he's getting used to it. He's got a track racer, sim rig, and he was talking about it because he did pretty well in VOR Motegi last weekend as well. He's saying that is starting to help out. Brody Garner putting some pressure on Gavin Sanders for the third position.
We got a battle back there for Miller underneath Vinci, I believe.
Looks like Dakota and Miller is what that is. I know what you mean about that car. It does look like a Caleb car, Dakota's car today. But that orange is a Dakota orange. And Dakota takes over 6th position.
Gavin and Nate are in a battle right now.
Yeah, there we go. Side by side. Championship implications here.
Yeah, Gav needs his position in order to definitely stay in the battle. He's an odd man looking in right now. Can't quite pull it off. And the longer he stays on the bottom, the more those tires are going to go off.
I saw Brody Garner, though, when he was passing Dakota. He used the low line, and he made that work. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, now he's clear. He can pull up there. There he goes.
Yep. We'll see what Nate tries to do, though. He tries to come back.
That's about the only place where the draft works, is when you're that close. Nope. Wow, losing more time on the top side.
Meanwhile,
maybe the bottom side is a wait. Oh, he's gonna.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
That's gonna take off all the aero on him, though. He's gonna have to back out a little bit. Meanwhile, Shane Coogan's just checking out up here.
2 second lead. Yeah. He's loving this in his rearview mirror.
Yeah, Brody Garner, another one of these drivers, is not a regular in the series. Probably more of an oval specialist. Sees iRating over here. He has a 4K iRating on ovals. I'm going to imagine that is a lot of stock car stuff.
Well, he should come and join us on Monday Night Indy Top Split and see if we can't get him on one of those broadcasts.
Well, he'd definitely get right into it, right?
He would definitely be in a top split on Monday night, I'll tell you that much, yes.
Shirazi and Minori there battling there for P10, P11. Michael Holler battling with Chris Hill there.
And toward the end of this lifetime of IndyCar at this track, pretty much owned one way or another by Chip Ganassi Racing. They won the last 3 races here.
Yeah, I was going to mention.
Scott Dixon won 3 in a row. One was rain shortened, but still won 3 in a row. Andretti Green won 2 here. A rare win by one of the underdog teams at the time, Blair Racing. Alex Barron in 2002 occurred here.
Who?
Team Penske has one under their belt with Jill DeFerrin. And Buddy Lazier won the inaugural race here in 2001.
Okay. Yeah, you were mentioning how Scott Dixon has the track record here, but I was also going to mention how he kind of, at least near the end of this thing, he was kind of the king in Nashville.
Yeah, that was the last 3 seasons this was on the schedule. Whenever Nashville would come around, it was just like automatically ticked as an automatic win for Scott.
Yeah, exactly.
For whatever reason. That team just had a grip of this surface and this particular format. And the number of races that Scott lost because of draft pack racing losing by a matter of inches and hundreds and thousands of a second. This is more of a driver's track, and you could tell because Scott Dixon is one of those high caliber drivers that can take a car and a track combo that doesn't necessarily match up and make them work.
I'm looking up here. Nate's kind of fallen from Gavin, but Gavin's eaten into Shane's lead up there. It's only about a second now.
Yeah, and the thing for Sanders right now is he has mostly clean air. He's just now getting into the dirty air of Shane, which is probably going to slow him up a little bit, but he's now 1.1 seconds back of the leader. Seifert 1.2 back of Sanders. Garner about 0.8 back from Seifert. So this top 4, it looks like they're spread out, but they're pretty close in proximity-wise when you look at the stopwatch. Coogan with the purple lap at a 23.469, set a little bit earlier in the race. Last time by is a 23.739. He's one of the few cars sitting in the 23 still. A lot of 24s still. Last time by, Johan Shirazi set a personal best with a 23.9, so still a number of cars in the back setting their green times now.
Mm-hmm.
We'll probably see a bunch of green times set after this next round of pit stops when they don't have to fill it up to the brim and they get fresh tires on.
And is trying to find Caleb Bensi about a half second back on Brody Garner, so we'll see if he can work into that any.
I think we're right back to where we were in the last one, where you mentioned that everyone was kind of evenly spread out.
Yeah.
So 1.2 from Coogan to Sanders, 1.4 to Sanders to Seifert, 1 second from Seifert to Garner. Here's a battle right now. Bensi coming up on Garner, 0.6 back. That's probably one of the closest battles on the racetrack at the moment. Holler and Hill, actually, back in 12th and 13th. That's a close one as well.
They've been battling quite a bit here, Hill, and that is definitely the closest one. Ooh, almost. I saw that.
yeah, that was. If Hill went up a little bit, that probably would have put Holler into the wall. Holler getting into, that's where the draft works, right there, sending him a little bit deeper into the
goes
corner
inside.
now, whether he can keep it pinned down.
With these older tires now, hard to keep it on that low side of the track.
Comes Matthew Short behind them. Matthew Short had a great race at FIS last night. I think he had a top 10, I believe.
Now Holler takes that position. Now Hill trying inside. Gonna try to do the same thing. We got Matthew Short back there lurking in 14th. He's kind of new to a lot of this oval stuff in IndyCars too, so getting the hang of this whole thing.
No, he's doing real well.
Yeah.
We've seen him improve on all the ovals, and like I said, raced with him a lot when we did the iRacing Super Speedway round. Work with him anytime on an oval, and he had, like I said, he had a pretty good run at the FIS last night at Mount Panorama. So he really is a road course racer, but he's picking it up on the ovals, much like Christopher Hill. Yeah, we already know Haller's pretty good on the oval. He won a pretty impressive race last year with the FIS at Dover, or with RIL at Dover.
Yeah, FIS not going to Dover. Oh, that's some.
What are these things? Oh, he's on that. Careful, fella.
Oh, no.
Oh, there it is.
There it goes.
Just what I was telling you. Just what I was telling you earlier in the race.
And there.
The car unloads when you hit that.
That was a hard lick, and
Yeah,
luckily
just
we
what I
were
was
watching
saying
it.
earlier in the
Yeah.
race. Once you hit the apron, the transition between the apron and the track here in the tri-oval area is closer to what you find in regular turns, not as flat as you find in regular 1.5 mile intermediate tracks. And once he hit the track, the back end came right around. He oversteered it nose first into the wall, and he is done for the day. But just as I was warning at the start of the race, that's definitely what you don't want to do. And guess what? Everyone's going to hit pit road because they did 24 laps on this stint, and they'll want to get those tires off.
Getting a replay of this one.
Oh, maybe pit road wasn't open there, so it was Coogan stays out. I don't know if it was open or not.
Yeah, this is tough though. When you hit that apron like that, it just sucks you in, and then you're along for the ride. And Chris Hill's got to be thankful that Polar didn't come up and hit him or anything like that. This is the kind of thing that happens in qualifying a lot that nobody ever knows about because we're in like private qualifying.
Right. And often you find that happen in a lot of official races against you see that when drivers that typically aren't in league races. A lot of time league races have gentleman agreements where you don't go onto the apron until the last lap or so. You don't necessarily have that in the official iRacing races. It's kind of open season, if you will, and you'll often see wrecks like that occur in the official iRacing races. Listening to Holler on the radio, he said he didn't get mean to go down there. Just kind of got caught up in it and apologized. I don't think he really has much to apologize for. It's just a mistake, and it happens.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of expecting. I don't think he meant to go down there. There is a no apron rule around here. Our rules here are pretty not too cemented, but I do believe it has been said before that we don't use the apron, to complete a pass. So I had to imagine that, you get in these oval races, 23, 24 second lap, you get kind of, you get in this mode and you just hit that yellow line and it kind of sucks you into that apron and you're along from the ride after that. So been there, done that.
Yeah, and there's really no good place to get back up onto the racing surface when you do hit the apron here. Sometimes when on the 1.5 mile tracks, when you get past the quad oval area or the tri-oval area, it flattens out a little bit so you can come back up on the track. Here, it doesn't. It really stays banked all the way through the corner into turn one. So even if he decided that he would stay down there a little bit longer, the window for him to get back up onto the track surface before hitting one, of course, is smaller because this is a smaller track, and two, because the transition between the racetrack and the apron is pretty much the same universally all the way through the quad oval area. Looks like we had 0 takers on pit road.
I'm surprised.
I think these guys have decided that pit or track position is what's going to be winning a race today.
Okay, we
now
do have one thing though.
Right here.
Nate Schaeffer has hit pit lane, so that is a strategy call here. We're going to see how that works for him.
Right. Actually, Coogan, Sanders, Garner, Bency, DeMade, and Mannery all stayed out. Seifert, Justin Miller, Johnston, Shirazi, Wang, Hill, Short, they all hit pit road on this last go around. And I think one other car just hit pit road and might be just trying to top it off. It might be Matthew Short. Let me see. No.
Well, with that said, though, so Nate can go to, say, like, lap 130 from here, whereas these other cars are looking maybe, lap 110, something like that. So that could be some decisive change in the strategy here. So we'll be watching that. Lights are out on the pace.
I saw hitting pit road there.
Oh, okay.
He's well down in the order, but probably just wanting to get to the back of the running order there. So
and when your car is a little wounded, fresh tires can be all the difference.
It's true.
Yeah, they wear really odd when your car is a little bit bent up. So yeah, new tires always good. You think Coogan gonna bring us down? Been a little while since Shane's last victory. You don't want to jinx him here, though. Commentator's curse. Green flag. Brody Garner right on Gavin Sanders' gearbox.
Yeah, if you got to get around, if you're going to get around Gavin, you got to get a good start.
I think Caleb is trying to get around Brody here, though, and I imagine that Caleb's kind of thinking, okay, now I'm ahead of Nate. You know, this is battle for the championship, and I've got to stay here, put positions between myself and
we got cars sideways.
Uh-oh.
And that is JJ Wang, I think, and Christopher Hill. I saw that going into turn one. You had the two of the teammate cars with Wang and Short were very close proximity. A little bit of banging wheels and scooted up into that. You might have watched a replay about on that again, but
there might have been a third car involved.
Contact in turn one between Wang and Hill, and I think Matthew Short might have been involved, but he's the one driving away on this one.
Side by side were the infinite teammates. No teammates actually here. Ooh, some net code between Short and JJ, and that collects Chris Hill. That's what I saw anyway.
Yeah.
3 wide here, though, is not a thing. So
not a thing. And watching the entry of that one real quick, it just gives some feedback to JJ on this. Is, number one, when you're racing that close to your teammate, he should have just stayed up high and kept Hill behind him and given his teammate a lot more room than what he did there. That was pretty close racing with your teammate, even though we don't have teammates here in this series, but still. Rule 1 when racing with your teammate is not wrecking them, and Rule 2 is often referred back to Rule 1 when racing with your teammate. So JJ maybe next time would want to give a little bit more room to his teammate.
Well, like we said earlier, JJ learning IndyCar ovals.
Well, sometimes it's on-the-job training. And
it kind of has to be,
that's
really.
That's kind of the best way to learn for a lot of people, but also it's the toughest way to learn.
Yeah.
So we're still going to have to pit these guys up front. And just making this current stint of theirs longer. Schaeffer on the restart did manage to get around Mannery, so that moved him up 1 position. So currently he's sitting 6th with those brand new tires behind the top 5, who all have 30-plus laps on their set right now.
Well, I think we'll do a commercial for our sponsor here. So let's get one of these in.
Ever since I've switched to Schaeffer's oil, I've never had a reason to even try anything else. And that's one thing that I'm proud about, is the fact that I can't tell you how good something else is, because I know how good Schaeffer's oil is. My engine builders, Tony and Glenn Clements, have said about the oil we run. They've told us that out of all the motors that they get and rebuild every year, ours looks the best, and a lot of that has to do with the oil that we run. One of the things that I love about Schaeffer's oil is the fact that all of their reps are out in the field and at the racetracks with us, seeing what all the racers need, seeing what ideas we have or anything that we can improve on. And you just can't beat the customer service of having a rep for, you know, one of the main components of our race team, whether it's at our engine oil, transmission fluid, rear end oil, having somebody there that represents that brand and also gives us support and also the knowledge that we need to be making the right calls and just helping us out with our entire racing program. It means a lot to our race team to have that. My name's Chris Ferguson, and I drive the number 22 dirt late model. I've been using Schaeffer's oil racing products since 2009. I absolutely have no doubt that we're using the best products that is possible for dirt late model racing.
All right, we are back here, Shane Coogan. We are just, during commercial break, we went over halfway through this race. Lap 76 of 150. Shane Coogan currently leading every lap, I believe, here tonight.
Pretty much led dominant from start to finish so far.
It's going to be interesting here how Nate... I feel like if I was going to lean one way, I feel like Nate has the edge on strategy right now. But we'll see how this all comes out. I just feel like he's pit at the right time, and if he can keep his car clean, I think he's going to cycle to the front. But, you know, we'll see what happens.
We're getting ready to go green to start the second half of this race. Top 5, reminder to everyone that top 5 have not stopped for tires. They are on 30 plus old lap tires, 33 laps to be exact. Last 10 of those have been better part of under caution, so they're not that badly used, but they are used, and we will see how they react going full speed into turn 1 with everyone with new tires behind them.
Here we go. I think Garner had a good start here. We'll see if he can make use of it. Keeping an eye on Nate back here in P6 too, and what he can do with those fresh tires. He should be able to hug that white line or yellow line.
Oh, good. Justin Miller up top, passing someone up high back in the back there.
Nate gonna try to make it work on the outside of DeMay. This actually...
Oh, we got a car going high. Nick Mannery, I think about kissed the wall there. No, maybe it was, not sure, maybe Shirazi got really close to the wall.
Yeah, those cars look similar. They might be teammates from another series, I'm not sure.
Yeah, the Team Supreme, I think. Yeah,
Yeah,
Mannery, I think,
so.
just almost got it up into the wall. Justin Miller is on a tear right now. He is now up to 7th. And he is working on Schaeffer, who's working on Dakota at the moment.
Dakota's holding him off for now, though. So
yeah, gonna send it on him right down there in turn 3. See if Dakota can maintain that position by staying up high in that momentum.
Yeah, he has that momentum. I feel like Dakota is fighting a losing battle here, though, just with these older tires. But as long as he can hold Nate and use up Nate's tires. Yeah, he
clear.
Yeah, wow. We have to see if Nate opts for the high side. Then I think Dakota, I don't think Dakota can hold the bottom line here with the old tires, so. This is the best battle on the track at the moment. There are other battles, but this one's the closest side-by-side one. Ooh, that was close for Dakota on the exit of turn 4 there with the wall.
Good battle here. Great battle.
And I think these lead lap, or these top 5 cars, I don't think they have to pit till probably about lap 105, even 110 possibly with this yellow that we've had here.
And I'll give them a pretty last set of pretty decent fresh tires and a lighter tank to go to the distance.
Exactly. And if they get a caution right about that time, then I think even Nate has to kind of come into the pits at that point, so.
Well, I'm not quite sure. Nate's now looking up high. He's kind of examining that higher line. And now Justin Miller's there.
I feel like what Nate needs to do, and he's kind of dropping back here though now, but is to try to force his way to the outside, force Dakota to run the inside, and I don't think Dakota is going to be able to hold that inside line with the old tires, and then he just kind of pin him down and be able to take him on the outside. We've got one of our favorite race first spammers.
As I like to say, easier said than done sometimes.
Correct.
When you got to get your nose in there at 200 miles an hour. They are currently hitting a low speed of a 185, 186 in the middle of the turn. So 1.3 mile oval, 1.33 mile oval, and they're not getting much below 200 at all.
Well, heck of a job by Dakota holding off the fresh tires of Nate Schaeffer.
Yeah, the longer he does that, the more that the battle evens out, so to speak, because those new tires are just going to wear and wear and wear. Now here he is again. He's really close. He's going to send it in turns 3 and 4. He might get it this time. He might let his tires cool off. He might get him on exit. Now, will he slide up and
no.
do the little slide job? No. I'm looking at 2 defending series champions here. The RIL champion in the orange, the FIS champion in the green.
There he goes. So Nate taking over the 5th position. And now,
if anything, that really cost Nate some valuable time. And he did have the car and the better circumstance to get around. He just could not pull it off. Dakota did a great job of putting the car where it needed to be in order to maintain that position for as long as he did. Now Justin's going to take a hack at him, but now Nate needs to do the exact same thing against Caleb. And we already know that, there's no teammates. We know that they do talk, and they're probably already well communicating that the high line is a good line to defend from. And here comes Justin Miller as he's working the low side of the racetrack.
Yeah, he's running really low, I saw.
This car is rotating very well.
Have you actually driven this track in a race, Gary?
No, not
I
after.
have not yet,
The number of times I've wrecked in practice have made me not want to drive this race.
But at some point in time, we're going to run a league. VOR has it later in the season.
Yeah, VOR is going to run here, and it's. I did race a portion of an IRO5 race here, and that was it was a horrible setup, and it was hang on for dear life, and I think the race ended up getting canceled just because the setup was just so bad. But yeah, one way or another, I'm going to have to race here whether I like it or not.
We'll be able to at least bring something more to the broadcast when that happens. But Justin Miller making it around Dakota with a little bit more ease than Nate did there.
I think it's because Justin's making that bottom side work a lot better for him than Nate did.
Yeah, so, something there with the tools.
Justin
maybe
up to 6th, and he's closing in on the back end of Nate. Nate really hasn't pulled away very much.
And that, with the 2 strategies here, that could be a battle for the win between Nate and Justin, and of course, up at the front, Dane Coogan, Gavin Sanders, they're on their strategy for the win. Of course, these strategies will collide at some point in time. Nick Johnston gaining ground, only about a half second back from Dakota. It did just hear a car hitting the wall sound. I don't know if that was real or not, or who that was, but...
Meanwhile, up front, Shane clear by 8/10 over Gavin. Gavin clear by about 8/10 over Gardner. Gardner clear about 8/10 over Betsy.
Only gap
evenly
is
spaced.
there,
Zoom.
from Dakota to Justin Miller. The Miller's about 1.6 seconds, 1.7 seconds ahead.
Yeah, this is where these guys are definitely want to get these new tires on, and not sure when these guys up front are going to have to stop. But they're coming up on that window here relatively. You thought it was like right around a lap 100 or so?
Well, actually, I think they can make it. So going back to that whole discussion we were having about what would Caleb do? I think he can go to, say, like lap 10 should be good to go with this caution that we've had. If they could do 60 laps of green flag running, we've had quite a bit of caution here, so they could probably go like 65 laps, even 67 laps. So I think they can go to between 105 110. But the other question is are you driving too slow, and could an undercut work here? And you do pit a little bit earlier, but then if the caution comes out, then you're hosed.
Work here, but the one that we would see that would probably do that that experiment is not here. Alex Van de Sant would probably do that if he was in this race, but he's not here. I think everyone's probably going to go as long as possible of these guys that have 55 laps on their tires. Dakota might be in a position where he might want to try the under. He's the one suffering the most with these older tires.
Yeah, but I know Dakota. He's never going to do it. Remember the time? Okay, I'm sorry, Dakota, but remember the time where I kept saying he needs to get in the pits. I think this was maybe Iowa.
Oh, yes, the Iowa race.
He burned the tire up, and he blew the tire or something. He ran it down to 0. So yeah, he'll never come in and do that early thing there. So I was just looking, I was like, Caleb's battling with somebody, but it was a lap down, 6 laps down, Michael Holler.
Yeah, here comes Holler's kind of moving through the top portion of the top 10 right now. Ooh, almost gets into the wall right there a little bit.
JJ is back on the track,
JJ
by the way. Yeah.
is, looks like Shane's getting around JJ. JJ gave him plenty of room. We're about 10 laps away, I think, from the pit stops, if you were saying.
Yeah, well, we'll see how accurate I was. I think that JJ just went really high in the corner, but it looks like he's good. I was about to say something else. Don't remember. Apologies. About 50 laps to go, 49 laps to go. That's where we're at. Watching for these pits coming up.
Last time by, Shane with a 23.8, so he's not losing really much pace with these tires as it is. His fast lap's a 23.4, so he's only 0.4 off. Under optimal conditions, which is new tires and heavy at that point. Now, what's going to happen if we go green for the remainder of the way? These guys that are up front, if they stop on the green, they're just going to have to pray for no caution during the overstint where the stints cross over between those that are now in the lead and those that just stopped, because those that cycle to the front because of these top 5 or these top 4 hitting the pits, they're going to be a lap down or 2 for a better portion of that run until the leaders eventually come in for their final stops, which are going to be short ones for that matter.
The other thing is this pit lane is going to be interesting. This whole slowing down off of turn 4.
You're absolutely correct. It's going to be not only is it treacherous getting on, but it's slick getting off. Yeah. And we could see a caution occur with a car spinning coming off of pit road just as much as we can see a car smacking the wall in normal racing situations. Right. So a lot can happen when these pit stops come up here in the next 10 to 15 laps, or 5 to 10 laps actually.
So I'm just going to keep an eye on the leader, and there's
caution,
a caution
there it is.
Right at
Caution
the opportune
on the racetrack,
time.
And I'm not sure who.
Nick Minori.
Minori.
Well, he's slow anyway. I don't know if. Yeah, that's who I'm seeing. Let's see if I can get a replay here. But this is exactly what Shane needed. Oh, yep. So Minori did something similar to Holler, a little bit different circumstance. He actually didn't hit anything, but he hit the apron, slid up the track back into turn 1, did not hit anything. So good car control. Nearly hit the inside wall of the track. So. By the way,
what happened there is he was coming through the tri-oval and he just clipped the apron, and wow, he just shot through the pits area and just missed the wall. If he would have hit the wall, it would have destroyed that car. But he got a black flag for. He's trying to get it removed, but I think he's still going to have to serve that black flag for unsafe pit entry.
Yes, the unsafe pit. We've got Brody Garner. A battle here. I think Shane just got him, but Brody Garner might have got out ahead of Gavin there.
We're showing Garner out ahead of Gavin, so
it was really close.
Still on
Shane.
The track.
Yeah.
Showing P1. Coogan now is starting to cycle through.
Oh, okay. I'm not. Oh, okay. Yeah. Minori is the one that brought up caution, right? The other thing I was about to say, and what I forgot about, what I had the brain fade right in the middle of, I was going to mention how repairable these cars are right now.
A lot more than they used to be.
That's exactly right. So I'm looking at, like, I don't know if you watched the Motegi race in VOR. Julian, like, completely kablamoed the wall head on, and his car seemed completely fine. It was faster than me after I've been brushing the wall a couple times during the race. But you see, like JJ Wang here, it was a pretty serious crash. Chris Hill, that was a major crash. They're still running. So I don't know what the deal is there.
Well,
These cars are
generally, what they say in real IndyCar racing, unless there's something wrong with the tub itself, everything is replaceable and everything can be bolt on a new part.
Yeah.
So if that's new A-arms and uprights and that type of things, they can bolt those on. Now, can they do it in 2 minutes in the pits? Probably not.
Yeah.
But most everything they can in these cars, it's bolt on, snap on, unless there's something wrong with the tub. And if the tub's cracked, then there's fundamentally an issue, safety issue with the car that it cannot continue any further at that point.
Yeah. So yeah, this is just kind of something like over in FIS we had fast repairs the first couple of seasons, and we finally decided to remove them. You know, it's like these cars are really repairable. Lights still on the pace car. So Shane Coogan, I don't know if you have a read on it, Gary, but he led every lap here, and this kind of the event here with this caution, it hurts Nate's, like, the strategy he had switched to.
Right.
He's now on the same strategy. We have a single strategy here.
Yeah.
So he needs to get around Caleb. And Caleb doesn't not want Nate to get around him. So we're going to see, this is going to be some fireworks, I think, here. And then the last 40 laps to the checkered flag.
I'm hearing something, the penalty aspect going on. There might be a penalty, or a warning was given to Gardner or something. I'm not quite exactly sure what's going on here.
I have a guess.
But there's a lot of chatter at the moment.
He was very aggressive on his positioning to the pit box. Did you see that?
Was he not far right? And did he ride down?
He was just side by side with Gavin, really. Like, he was almost ahead of Gavin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's what I'm seeing. If there's an issue there, that's my guess on what it was.
Well, getting ready to go green. We got ourselves a 40-lap sprint here to the end. I am a fan of the leagues that set the rule that you need to stay far right, and then as you get closer to your pit stall, then you can move to the left. I do not like it in official races when you try to hit pit road, and these guys, all they do is they stay down the concrete portion of pit road.
Yes, I agree.
That's not very driver-like. But anyways, we're green, and Coogan extends the lead. Gavin looking outside of Brody, trying to get that position back, but Gavin is starting to pull away a little bit as those two begin the battle here at the back end of the backstretch going into turn 3.
But at the end of the day, I don't think there is a rule specifically stated anywhere that, hey, this is here in the RIL, that this is where you need to drive. So I don't think that there's much that can be said about that.
Yeah, that would have to be set in black and white.
Yeah.
And then agreed to. And I think that's something that this league has been around long enough that probably can set a rule like that if they want to.
Yeah. I've heard that there will be a more detailed rule book being written in the offseason. So, Caleb Bensi trying to get around Brody Garner here.
Great battle between Miller and DeMade for 6th and 7th.
It's go time here. So, Caleb Bensi's going to make it around. He's in 3rd now. And now Nate's going to try to have to get around Garner. Check out what's happening between DeMade and Miller. Shane's already got that second lead over Gavin. Trying to keep an eye on this battle that's going to be brewing here between Garner and Schaeffer, because Schaeffer needs to get around him.
And I think Mannery might have just DQ'd out. I'm not sure.
not pitting or something like that, or
I think he passed the car under yellow that was sitting still and didn't get a yellow removed.
oh, okay.
Yeah, he's out. He got DQ'd, so they were not going to remove that caution. Didn't sound too happy. I don't blame him.
Well, if they don't clear black flags, they don't clear black flags. I don't know. Again, there's another interpretation of rules. Gotta look for some interesting camera angles here. Mixing between the static cam, I like to get that static cam to show the speed. Kind of spreading out a little bit here though. Couple battles, about a half second. Nobody's side by side or anything attempting any passes here.
Yeah, very evenly spread out. Watching these cars kind of make exit off of 4 here. Everything seems to be about a half second or so separating each other.
Yeah, and everybody's on the same tire strategy at this point too. So, you know, it's not like earlier when you had Dakota or whoever it was were on older tires and you had Nate battling with him.
They are grabbing a couple gears here on this track. As they go into the corners, they're going from 5th to 4th.
Yeah, I certainly noticed that with the onboard.
There's a lot more work going into this track than that meets the eye.
Yeah, a little bit more than your usual 1.5 miler. That's, I mean, it's not quite flat out. You broadcast the Kentucky race on Monday. It's not quite flat out.
Nope. Although Kansas next week might be flat.
Yeah, I think so. it's
Vegas,
interesting.
Chicagoland, they're all the same for when it comes to IndyCar fixed.
Well, it's just really interesting because they're, you know, you say they're the same, but it's just, as a fan, before you start running these cars in iRacing, you're like, all those D-shaped tracks, those cookie cutters, they all are the same. But when you get into iRacing, you start to see these little differences between all of them.
I mean, even when even before Texas was reconfigured and Charlotte, Texas was much wider. Charlotte always feels like you're threading the needle every time you enter turns 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Same thing from the air. Atlanta might look like Charlotte and Texas, but it's a much wider course. Well, the old configuration of it, the new configuration, it's a little bit steeper and now more narrower. But you know, we'll see how the cars behave on that when that track becomes available. But the D-shaped tracks, they're almost. Chicago looks a lot like it, but Chicago's backstretch is actually slightly curved.
Yeah, it's so weird, like when you're driving on that one.
The cars are set up just a little bit differently each one, and they handle a little bit differently in each one.
And of course, the track surfaces are like, just there's some slight differences as well, going back to Texas. And, you know, we maybe on the 2-milers, there's a big difference between Fontana and Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
Not just the banking, but with that whole bumpy surface difference between Auto Club.
It looks like Fontana will get one more year reprieve before they decide to bulldoze that thing.
Well, let's hope it gets... let's hope they just completely cancel that or something.
Actually, there might be it might be feasible that they just end up saying, "Nah, we're not going to do it," because everybody's so tight with money now. It might just be cheaper to put a new layer of pavement on that place and
construction cost. Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, I think the last thing NASCAR really needs is another short track. I think if they want to do another short track, then they can go back and race in the Coliseum, for all I'm concerned. Yeah,
there's plenty of short tracks around if they so choose to go to them. They don't, though, right? So
no. The super speedways, they're more rare, and you know, I don't want to say a dime a dozen, but they're certainly more rare when it comes to it. In the United States, there's only like 6 of them. Period.
Yeah.
I think you would want to keep a hold of those. And actually the recent history have showed that the percentage of super speedways have actually diminished more than the percentage of any other type of racetrack, just because there's so few of them, and then they've lost Ontario and they've lost Texas World Speedway.
Yeah.
So at one point there was 8 of them in the United States, and now I think we're just down to 6. That's anything 2 miles or longer.
Leaders making their way around JJ Wang there.
Yeah, JJ gave a good way through for the leaders, allowing them to make good. We got about 20 laps to go, 130 of 150.
Nate Schaeffer hasn't been able to make up any ground on Brody Garner up there. Justin Miller is kind of knocking on the door behind Nate, though, about a half second back.
And this is the point in the race where Caleb now wants to begin thinking racing smart. Am I going to get that position in front of me? Can I get that position in front of me, or do I maintain where I'm at just to finish ahead of Nate going into these final 2 races? Because I think at the end of the night, I think even though a 7th place finish for Dakota would be pretty good in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it's going to keep him mathematically in the hunt for the final 2 races.
I think it might be mathematically keep him in the hunt, but logically it will not.
It'll be a stretch.
Yeah,
yeah. And Gavin right now is definitely thinking, you know, do I put a full bore rush on trying to catch the leader, or do I just get a solid 2nd place finish here and help myself in the points by finishing ahead of my chief 2 rivals, which I would discretion is valor in that point, so I would definitely be leaning toward that.
One thing I don't have time to look into here, Shane Coogan's got a few wins here in the series, but his last win seems to have been... That's what I'm thinking. So we're gonna have to ask him about it if he remembers.
Detroit like a couple seasons ago.
It was several seasons ago. It might have been December of 2020 is when I feel like I just saw a car hitting the pit lane. That might have been World War III there.
Yeah, we got World War III hitting pit road there. Yep.
But we don't want to jinx it on Shane here. Still time. Closest battle on the track, though, is between Justin Miller and Schaeffer, though. But that half a second's kind of quite a bit here on these ovals.
It might as well be a full lap at this
yeah.
point. The way that these cars really cannot gain.
Yeah, I'm glad we got that discrepancy there when we had 2 different strategies going on, because I think we saw some better racing during that time. But when everybody's on the same strategy, they're just going to spread out.
Yeah, I think it'd be better if iRacing takes this setup back and adds the short oval wings. I think the racing might be better here. I don't want it to be pack racy like we saw at that one point where Gateway was actually that kind of way for a while.
Yeah.
But it needs to be better where you can get closer to the car in front of you. Right now, everyone is horribly evenly matched, and that doesn't make for very fun racing. You just wait for the person to maybe make a mistake in front of you. Other than that, you're doing 150 laps kind of at a second and a half with the car behind you and a second and a half with the car behind you, or you know what I'm saying? Second and a half with the car in front of you and second and a half with the car behind you. Yeah,
we've had a lot of attrition here, so the cars that have made those kind of mistakes that you're looking for are kind of already out of the race. We have 11 cars of the 20 cars that started the race on the lead lap, so quite a few are parked in the pit lane. Shane's company on the side of that car, Western Waves Media, they do that little tune that we play at the beginning of the broadcast when I remember to do it. Sometimes,
the RIL Schaeffer's IndyCar Series is brought to you by...
that's Christian talking. Sorry about that. I had Christian doing Schaeffer's IndyCar League thing. Yeah, this is the Western Waves Media, but yeah, we occasionally play this song. Maybe through the quarter way of the race, but hopefully forget about it.
Yeah, I told him it reminds me of the old, you're my age, the old TV show. We all had the super vehicle crime fighting TV shows back in the 80s. Street Hawk. If anyone
okay.
wants that,
No.
go ahead and listen to his theme, and then listen to the Street Hawk theme. Pretty eerily similar.
Well,
But
we
you know,
got that
not
plan.
everyone can have a musician who writes soundtracks for MCU movies to do their series music. So you know, not everyone can have that. So
well, I think
we have Shane Coogan.
I think that what they wanted was something with like a little bit more of an 80s vibe to it. From like Delta Force, but not Delta Force, you know, the 80s Chuck Norris movie that was used in all of those Paul Page Indianapolis 500 intros.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's what they were looking for on that. Not looking for cinematic, epic, orchestral sound, which is good too, but that's not what they were looking for.
Well, the battle for the lead has all of a sudden got a lot closer now.
Well, they've got a lap car ahead of them. Michael Holler trying to play a factor here.
Christopher Hill sounds like he's hitting pit road for his final stop, or at least to get out of the way of the leaders there.
Caleb Bency catching Gavin here too. So this isn't over. It looks like Holler
up the track there to get out of the way.
This is what Shane wants. Looks like he's going to clear him.
That might be the last hurdle there. We'll see. I'm not sure what he's got in front of him. Next car is 10 seconds up the road, so
Shane, Gavin
gets around him real easily.
Yeah.
Not over yet. 6 to go. More like 5.5 at this point.
Yeah, no blue flag rules on ovals. They can kind of race with the leaders.
More of an unwritten rule of racing etiquette-wise is
correct.
The thing to do there.
It's where you can make enemies.
Yes. Like I say in the Monday Night Indy Fixed, we drivers have long memories. And,
yes, we do.
We remember when someone really slows us down and costs us a chance to win, or sends us up in the wall or whatever. We remember.
Yes, we
Don't
do.
worry.
Yes, we do. Well, 4 laps to go here for Shane Coogan. That lead, it was down to half a second. It's back up to a second now. And unless he's got a lap car ahead of him, I think he's got pretty control.
His next car is Wang, which is 7.8 seconds up the road, so he is well clear of any traffic at the moment.
Yeah, I think that whole where Gavin caught him was just because of lap traffic, though. So that's how important that aero wash of that, the wake
Sanders
of that car
got close
had.
to about 4/10, and now he's back to 1.2 behind the leaders. Got 8/10 over Bency. So we're now 2 to go.
Michael Hanekamp confirming that his last win was Belle Isle, January 2021. So
White flag.
over a year ago here in the series.
Getting it pretty cleanly through turns 1 and 2 down the backstretch. He can coast it on home now at this point. Turns 3 and 4. Pretty dominant win as they come.
I think he led every lap, didn't he?
I think so.
Shane Coogan wins here in Nashville. Gavin Sanders going to come home in second. Caleb Bency in third. So we're going to go to Watkins Glen next week. We are not going to have a tied championship. But it is going to be very tight still. Every season of RIL, we've had a very tight championship. Not every league can say they have such a thing. So we're lucky in that respect here. Well, we'll see. Are we going to get some donuts, or are we going to get, Polish victory lap? What are we going to get from Shane Coogan?
Some of the drivers are relieved to have this race over. They're like, oof.
Yeah, I know. I know a few drivers that were not like, that thrilled about this one.
Yeah, let's take a look at the stats here. Yeah, 150 out of 150 laps. Shane had fastest lap, led all 150, won the race. In fact, he started fifth. And he went from fifth to first on the first lap and never looked back. He did 3/4 of the Grand Slam. He did not start from the pole. That would have getting Grand Slams on an oval is extremely rare and extremely hard. And he came pretty close to it. Did everything but start from the pole, but he got the win, led the most laps, had the fastest lap. And he set that. He didn't even set that fast lap early. He set it fairly late, lap 112. So Shane Coogan, pretty dominant day.
He's still burning it down.
I don't even know if he's shed any sweat whatsoever on this one.
Maybe a little bit. Okay, we've got Caleb Bensey. Let me quickly set up. I'll just show this on the screen. Do like a slow-mo. Unfortunately, it's going to be under caution, but that'll work. And we'll bring up Caleb here for his interview. Hey, Caleb, this is Matt and Gary up in the booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, I think as far as this race went, for your strategy for the championship, you are where you wanted to be, ahead of Nate. Yeah. So he made a strategy call, in that race. It could have worked out for him, but then that caution came out, reset everybody on the same strategy, and he was behind you. So, good for you on that. But tell me about your race.
Yeah, it was kind of tough. Obviously, I mean, anyone who was watching that could probably tell it was hard to pass. But yeah, it was just the dirty air was really bad, and you couldn't really run the top. And I think even if that caution wouldn't have come out, I think we were still in a decent spot, unless the caution screwed us after we hit. But outside of that, I think we were still in a good spot. Because I feel like once after like 5, 6, 7 laps or whatever, you're really able to start to get some front rotation and get back into a rhythm. But until then, it was kind of tough. But once it got to that point, I knew I had Nate covered pretty well. But yeah, I was glad to jump up to third there on that last restart. Probably the only like legit pass I had all day, but obviously it was one that mattered. So I'm pretty happy to get third. That was pretty tough track. Never really driven any laps there, and considering how the package was and everything, it was tough to get a feel. So glad to come out with the podium.
Yeah, quite a bit different track than we're used to. Like it kind of looks like a 1.5 miler, but totally drives completely different than any of those.
Yeah,
So,
I like the track. I think it's something unique and everything. Like design-wise, I like it, but just the package we're running, the setup we're running, it just didn't really go too well together. Like I think a short oval package that's kind of trimmed out, I feel like would be really, really, really fun here. I think I'd maybe open up some lanes and open up some passing, but and hotter track temps didn't help at all either. So a lot of things weren't really going our way there in terms of grip, but it was, I mean, in a way, it was a fun challenge. Obviously, it's not fun to just be stuck and not be able to do anything. But once you got into a rhythm, it did become somewhat enjoyable. And obviously, getting a podium always helps too. So,
well, a really good run. Was Dakota complaining a lot about this track during the race?
During the race, he was complaining about a few things. I think they were legit, but yeah, I think a lot of people were complaining about the track, if I had to guess, based on the chat from some other people too. So, yeah, I mean, I understand. Again, I don't think it's necessarily the track. I think it's just the package and the setup. But yeah, I don't know. Again, like I said, my perspective is a little better when you're on the podium. So,
yeah, exactly.
yeah, it was definitely a tough one though. Not the best race, I'm guessing, from a fan's perspective.
Well, the points are posted. You have yourself a 5-point lead over Nate. 2 races to go.
Yeah, we've been essentially like within 2 spots of each other. I think every race except for the ones I've been wrecked out or had the internet issue or whatever. So I don't expect that number getting too much bigger either direction. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna be pretty tight to the end. So
And I'm not sure what Watkins Glen we're going to be running next week. Like,
yeah, I have no
I
clue.
actually have no idea. It just says on the schedule Watkins Glen. That can mean a lot of things.
Yeah, exactly.
I if I was to get, it's going to be the boot of some
Okay,
sort, but whether it has a bus stop or not is the question, I think.
so
So we'll see.
it's on the league page. It just says boot.
Okay.
So I
So
believe it's normal road
that
course.
is normal, like with the bus stop boot.
Yeah.
It would be classic boot if it did have the bus stop. Well, hey, any final shout outs to family, friends, sponsors, that kind of thing?
Yeah, obviously, thanks to you guys as always. Trying to put on a good show. I'm guessing it was, despite the lack of on-track action. But yeah, thanks to you guys and family and friends. I know there's someone watching, and obviously Fun Infinity as well. If you still haven't checked it out, please do. 20 team race first, 20% off your order. Obviously, it doesn't hurt to try. You'll definitely enjoy it. So custom body care, all that type of stuff. But yeah, obviously family and friends. I knew some were actually here still as I was racing. They were watching out in the living room. So yeah, thanks to all you guys as always, and glad to get another podium. Pretty big for the standings for sure.
Sounds good. Well, we'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you guys.
Yep.
Yeah, here's the point situation. Got Caleb with a total of 359. Nate with a 354. Gavin is 23 back from the lead at a 336, so still within contention. This is where it starts getting a little hairy. Dakota, solid fourth place. Actually, he's tied with Nick Johnson. They both have 280. Actually, no, sorry, I'm reading that wrong. Dakota has 280. Nick Johnson has 260. So there's 20 points difference there. But they are 79 and 99 behind, respectively, in fourth and fifth. So that's going to be a bit of a ask to for those guys to jump up into inside the top three a little bit. But a lot can happen. Internets can fail. Cars can wreck. Any number of computers can't start. Any number of things can happen still between now and then. So we'll see.
Hey, Gavin, how's it going?
Hi.
Gary's got you all updated.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm understanding now.
Yeah. So, tell me about your race. You just bought this track today, didn't you?
Literally at 6:51.
You suck so much. I'm glad you're my teammate.
Yeah. Not my best purchase, I'll say that, but
well, it's good for the points here. You still have your, in mathematical contention here.
23 back.
Yeah, 23 back. So it's close. You finished ahead of the drivers that you're competing against between Nate and Caleb there. So, you did what you needed to do. Top step of the podium would have been a little bit better, but really hard to pass here. You had half a chance, though. Like with the lapped car, I believe there right at the end, like it was about a second, and then you brought it down to about 4/10. And then, then once the lap car got out of the way, then it was kind of over with again. So
yeah. It was pretty difficult to really do much of anything. Because even if the leader ended up getting a little bit of traffic, you got the dirty air just in double the annoyance. So unfortunately, yeah, that's just kind of the way it played out, and it was a major track position race, and unfortunately there was a lot of issues with the yellows and the pit lane entry and stuff like that. It was really weird timing, so you just basically had to run the stint out to the end or until you got a caution, and just kind of made for a bit of a cookie cutter race, so to speak.
Well, talking cookie cutter, this track, it looks like a cookie cutter track, but it does drive a lot different than other of those 1.5 miler cookie cutters, because it is only 1.3 miles and it's got the concrete surface, all of that. We will be running it over on the VOR later in the season, probably with the same amount of cars, just about. So we'll see how it goes over there. But you're still in contention with the championship. Heading to Watkins Glen. We talked about it with Caleb there. It is confirmed that it will be. I wasn't sure what layout it was going to be. it's going to be the the normal boot, not classic boot. So
Okay, good.
there is the new scan there, so I haven't driven it since the new scan. I don't
I
think
saw that the
anyway.
out of bounds, at least for using the rumble strips going into the bus stop, is pretty liberal.
There's been an
Yeah.
update that came out today or yesterday that said something about
Maybe corrected that one. I don't know.
it could have been Dakota said something about that. So anyway,
Yeah.
any thoughts going there? Any thoughts going to Homestead for the finale?
I definitely like Homestead. I think Watkins Glen is going to be a bit of a dogfight, considering all the championship contenders are pretty hefty on a road course. So it'll be a show for sure. But yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to this. Even with drops, I don't think I have much of an advantage compared to them. So it's going to be a straight up fight to the end here for sure.
Yeah, I think everybody's had kind of some good races and bad races, so it's going to be interesting coming out here. But hey, any final shout outs, thank yous, that kind of thing, sponsors?
Thank you to Braden Motorsport, Alpine Stars, Stilo, Fiber Data Exchange, and Midwest Data Exchange. Yeah. Big shout out to Team Raceverse, all the guys in there for making tonight definitely quite a show. 1, 2, 3 is not so bad. And Team VOR and Gary, always Gary.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, great run, Gavin. We'll let you go eat dinner. Go eat one of those. Maybe a burrito. I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully a burrito. There better be a burrito.
All right, you take care.
You guys too. See ya.
Yep. All right, we waited the best for last. Shane Coogan taking his, hopefully he's got a copy, but taking his first victory in the RIL here since Detroit just about a year ago. How's it going, Shane?
It is wonderful. Yep, it's great to be back in victory lane.
Did you sweat it all during this race? I mean, it didn't look very hard for you at all. Other than that first lap, other than that very first lap where you went from 5th to 1st.
Yeah, the first lap was a full send, but beyond that, it was really just about being really, really patient. Man, this track it's pretty treacherous, and it probably looked pretty boring from up there, but man, you're just trying to stay off the walls, and even the inside apron too can be pretty deceiving.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think, not to take anything away from this one, but we're going to have you set up for when VOR runs here later this season. But awesome win here tonight. But tell me about that start, though. There was something went on there that was like, it was pretty wild from the leader, I think. And
yeah,
there's a checkup, it looked like.
Yeah, strange start, strange race, to be honest. It was just one of those different races. But yeah, the start was very weird. I think Bruno didn't get in the session, so I jumped up a spot, and then at that point I knew I thought I had a chance, but yeah, it was going to be pretty tricky. But anyway, we started to go, and then the leader didn't really go. So yeah, that was strange. But anyway, I went and took the position, and at that point I knew that was really the pass. And then at that point it was just trying to not make a mistake and hope that the strategy worked out.
Yeah, there was a point there though where strategies kind of went different directions. Nate pit, and so he was kind of leading a different strategy that it could have worked. Say we had a caution about lap 105, and that allowed everybody to pit, and then everybody was back on the same strategy, so that was good for you. If that hadn't happened and you would have, how close were you to having to pit at that point in time? You had to have been pretty close.
Yeah, that was probably the only sweaty moment, actually, Gary. That was about 3 laps away when I got that yellow flag. Yeah. So it was getting there, and I wasn't too sure how that green flag stop would have worked out with everything. So yeah, that's what we needed. Yeah.
Yeah, this was like, it was all looking pretty straightforward, but it was like, I made the comment that this is a new track for a lot of people. This pit entry and exit, Gary mentioned, is going to be really tricky for green flag pit stops. Luckily, for you didn't have to do one. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was good. It's a cool track. I like it a lot. I think if we could have maybe run at night and maybe with a little bit more front, center pressure or something in the car, maybe could have had some closer racing, maybe some more participants too, and some lap traffic would have, shaken it up a bit. But
Yeah.
I like the track. It's cool. I think the IRL had some cool races here back in the day, and yeah, the surface was really something.
Yeah, a little bit like Dover in a way. I have to imagine with the concrete. So
Yeah, yeah, low grip, and I don't know. I found it to be kind of a one lane track. I think some people were using the high side a little bit more, but yeah, it was tough out there to
well,
really pass anybody.
you didn't have to.
Not
but
really. I mean, even lap cars though, there was a couple times where I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to get this guy, and you just started to really slide and melt your tires, and it was just, yeah, back it off and be patient type thing.
well, awesome win, Shane. I know it's been a little while. I gave a shout out to Western Waves Media during the race, but no one can do a better job than you on that front.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. Yeah, shout out to Western Waves, now fully up and running here in St. Louis, Missouri, and Indianapolis for all of your media needs. So hit me up. And yeah, it was cool to have the Raceverse guys in the Discord. And of course, shout out to Raceverse. Appreciate you guys doing the broadcast as well.
Awesome. Well, hey, next race is going to be Watkins Glen, but the final race of the season at Homestead. You've been to all those places before, but any thoughts going to there again?
Yeah, it should be good. Look forward to it. I think the season's been pretty quick here, and again, feels great to finally grab a win, be on the top step of the podium again. So we'll try to finish out strong. I think the Glen, depending on what configuration we run, could definitely be a fun race, and then we'll try to do well at Homestead as well. And who knows, maybe we can crack a top 5 here at the end of the day.
Well, I'll also mention just Shane here is going to be making his team race for his Lionheart season debut here in about a month from now.
Yeah.
Speedway, Delara DW12, ovals only. Shane's going to feel right at home over there, so hopefully he'll bring us some wins over there too.
Yeah, that's the idea. Looking forward to getting back in those cars.
Yeah.
Dakota gave me a really cool paint job there, kind of a throwback
Yeah,
to
it's awesome.
old DRR car. So we're gonna rock that, and yeah, looking forward to that series with you guys.
All right. Well, we'll see you back here next week, Shane.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks. All right. Well, that's it for us tonight, Gary. We'll put up the results. Good race here. I know, like, not everybody, it's a different race than the usual 1.5 milers, but I certainly enjoyed it. And it's hard to say, hey, I enjoyed that race there. Somebody led all the laps. Only one car led all the laps, but there was some different strategies. There was some side by side racing. It's just a different. It's different than the iRacing Super Speedway, for instance.
For sure.
The passes here, when they happen, they mean something. So
yeah, they mean, well, it's a lot more work. And
Mhm.
Nate was saying that he thinks that he might have been 2 or 3 laps away from victory if those green flag stops would have happened.
Mhm.
Because I think he said he was set to go to the end. So that would have been interesting to just see how the margin of some of these wins come down. Even though it was 150 laps led by Shane, it really came down to a car making a mistake 3 laps before he had the pit. That really was one of the turning points of the race. Of course, the main turning point in the race was him going from 5th to 1st in the first corner because of a wacky restart. Who would have thought that the pass, the important pass for the lead happened on lap 1, so 149 laps ago. That's when the pass, the pivotal pass of the race happened.
Into turn 1 too. So
into turn 1, no less. So we knew that this race was going to be critical, just because of everyone's experience and the treacherous conditions at this track. So this is now behind us. Now they're going to 2 tracks that are fairly familiar with most everybody in that races IndyCar and iRacing. Although Watkins Glen might be a little bit different because it is racing on the new scan. But in terms of how Homestead, the future for Homestead is, Homestead really hasn't changed much in the last year or so, given since their last when they updated the last scan of it, which was like 3 or 4 seasons ago.
Mhm.
So everyone is pretty much on even ground now, because even though Watkins Glen is a new scan, it's a familiar format, and and everyone's raced on in an IndyCar at Homestead at least once or twice since the new version came out. So everyone should be on even ground there. So it's going to be really interesting how these top three are going to handle these last three races. Every lap, I think, is critical and coming up to finish the season. And we're probably looking at another close finish to another RIL season yet again.
Yeah, I think I already mentioned it early in the race, but I think having that finale at Homestead rather than Gateway it's that Homestead's a finale track for me. It's like, Auto Club's a good one, but Homestead's also a really good one too. So getting on that kind of course where kind of anybody can win. So
yeah, and Indy Racing League / IndyCar Series wrapped their season up there a number of times. That in Texas was a place they wrapped their series up at, and earlier in its infancy was Las Vegas. But yeah, you're right. Homestead is one of those tracks you either open the season at or close the season at for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And it's going to make for a great finale. So if we could get that far with still three in contention, it'll be interesting to see how that boils out and how the we've never really done one of those things of points where they run at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't know how to calculate those or who has an app that could do that, but that'd be really cool to have going into the final race with three drivers in contention for the championship in the final race. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to next week. I think today was a learning experience for everybody. Now we're past probably the hardest of the three, and we're going to see some. We might see some people really full send it here at Watkins Glen next week. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, that's about it for us here tonight. I don't know if you have your outro, Gary, but if you don't, I'll just do a really quick one.
I do, as a matter of fact. See here. That's it for tonight. Once again, your podium from the Nashville Super Speedway, Shane Coogan with a dominant win, followed by Gavin Sanders and Caleb Binsey. Join Race First again next Wednesday. I'll be coming to you from Watkins Glen for round 11 of the Revolution IndyCar League's Schaeffer's IndyCar Series. That's next Wednesday night, 7:50 Eastern Time. Again, that's 7:50 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube at youtube.com/racefirst. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm game is not an easy one, so please do leave a comment below and let us know what you thought of tonight's race. And if you are at it, subscribe and hit the bell so you will be notified of weekly reminders of Race First iRacing programming, including our continuing coverage of the official iRacing Fixed IndyCar Series, the Monday Night Indy Split, every Monday evening at 7:15 Eastern Time, and the Midwest Kidney Warriors Formula Indy Series on Tuesday evenings at approximately 8:45 Eastern Time. Join Race First for the best IndyCar fixed road and race coverage every week right here on YouTube. For business inquiries to learn more about Race First and what we do, visit racefirst.com or follow us on Twitter. You can follow me, Gary Gazzo, on Twitter at Gary Gazzo. So for Matt Houston and everyone else at Race First, I'm Gary Gazzo saying all good night to all of our men and women in the military serving and as first responders. Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Thanks again for watching. Catch us next week for the next race of the Revolution IndyCar League's Schaeffer's IndyCar Series. Good night.